All right, I think we're live. What is up? What is up? It is Astro Monk 86 back in the mix with another video for you guys. And today I have a real special video for you guys. We're going to be talking about the Netflix Death Note film that was put together. And I have my boy here, Akeyles, with me. Akeyles, what's up, man?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be here. Uh, just to let everybody know, I'm Achilles. I play games. I watch anime. I watch movies. I've been here. I do this stuff.
And I'm happy to have you here because, I know you definitely watch a lot of anime. You always said there'd be stuff to watch. And when this came out, like you were like one of the first people that I kind of talked to about to see how you felt about it. Because, to be honest, I kind of have my issues with it, but I think before we kind of go into our anime perspective on this, I think we should kind of talk about what our perspective of the film was if we didn't watch the anime first. So I'm gonna ask you, like, if you didn't watch this anime, how would you what would your take be on this film?
I think this film would be, I guess, an okay movie. It is definitely it would be like a traditional American movie, I would think, because it'd be like the bully, the kid getting bullied, and him meeting the girl that he always wanted, and you know, becoming the hero at the end is what kind of feel I got from it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know, like to me it felt like the traditional love story, like the teenager going through like a mid, like the preview puberty and like trying to like figure out like his life, and then he's getting bullied and he wants to get with the hot chick at school. And like I kind of felt like they were playing with a lot of those tropes. And for me, like if I was going into it and I hadn't seen the anime, it kind of I would have gotten more of like a, I guess, like a Twilight vibe from it. Like to me, it just kind of felt like a B horror movie. Like it didn't really feel like this mystery, murder mystery like novel. Well, not novel, but like series that the um the original was. Like I wouldn't have got that from just watching this. To me, it felt like something else. Like I didn't get the mystery and like the investigation going real deep into the strategy and how two masterminds are trying to outwit each other. I kind of just got more of like a story about like a high school kid trying to figure out his life. He has issues with his dad. His mom passed away, and now he kind of wants to like go after all the people who wronged him. So I mean, that's kind of what I got from it, and that would be if I didn't watch the anime. Like that's without me interjecting any of like the lore of Death Note and why I had issues with the film ultimately.
Definitely. I just go on top of that too, and then like the whole light character, um, selling homework and then getting beat up and then taking it out to the bullies. It's just cliche, from the very beginning is what I would have thought about it. It's like another American movie.
Yeah, like it felt like a just like you said, like another American, film that's kind of trying to play off of the horror tropes that you see in a lot of horror films today. Like for example, like to me, like the way, and now I kind of want to get into like some of the stuff from the anime, but like I kind of felt like they made like Ryuk like like the traditional like Americanized monster, like
Yeah,
like because in the
and when he was
anime,
introduced,
well, not well that too, but just even the way like his personality was, like it seemed like he wasn't really just there kind of as an observer. Like it was kind of like he had stake in what was going on in a sense. And
right?
I kind of like Ryuk as an observer, kind of like how we are observers as, looking at this story from the outside looking in. And that aspect was kind of lost when he kept like interfering with things that happened throughout the film. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. Because in the anime, he really just didn't care about human. he's a god. Why would he care what goes on in the human life? It kind of seems like in this movie, it was like he was gaining something from people dying. Is kind of what they were trying to perceive out there, and then how they made it where Light was like, "Well, I have to do this," but I don't want to go too deep into that yet because that was like later on in the movie. But yeah, definitely. Ryuk, like his intro when he comes in, like things are shaking, and desk getting turned over. That's like the classic. And then even how Light was like being freaked out and banging on the window, and it was I don't know, it was just so I don't want to say cliche, but um I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like that is another issue. Like, so I think now I guess we should summarize the anime because I think the more we talk about it, the more we're gonna want to talk about the anime aspect. So to kind of summarize, if you're watching this spoiler review and you don't care about spoilers, the story of Death Note is this high school student Light, and he finds this Death Note from a Shinigami, who's like a god of death, and his name is Ryuk. And then over time, Light becomes like this cult-like mass murderer who kills criminals, and he receives this name from like his followers, Kira. And Kira is, going about his business, and then this like mastermind genius named L starts an investigation that kind of hinders his plans. And the story of Death Note revolves around the cat and mouse chase between these two characters, L and Light. And what makes it so fun to watch is these two are so smart. They're such brilliant characters that to see the strategies that Light uses to outsmart L is, it's very tense watching it. The music in Death Note, the anime series, is phenomenal. It builds a lot of tension. And one of my favorite scenes is a scene where Light is pretending he's under surveillance from L, and he's pretending to be studying. And L is watching him, and even though L is thinking that he's just studying, doing his schoolwork, he's actually killing people, and he's looking at criminals at a little mini television that he has in a bag of potato chips. And I just thought that was one of the dopest scenes because it just showed how this kid was so smart. Like he was able to outsmart, the police force. He was able to outsmart this, mastermind genius who was trained as a child to be like the world's greatest detective. And ultimately, the story of their kind of relationship, the development of L and Light's relationship becomes also a major plot point in the series. Did I miss anything there? I mean, I don't know. Do you want to
I mean,
elaborate on that?
it's pretty much the story. It's the main thing about this anime that made it great, which everybody was talking about it, is the whole chess game. It was a giant chess game when L showed up. Because before that it was just him, killing everybody. But once L showed up, the anime just took it to another whole nother level on just how smart or how well played everything was going, how precise everybody had to be, and that was like the main appeal of it. It wasn't any love story because in the anime, Light didn't love those hoes at all.
And
He
Light was not. He was a. The thing is, he was a player. Like he was a ladies' man, but he never fell for any of those girls. Like he used people. That was the thing with Light. He knew how to use people to get what he wanted.
he knew what to say to people. He pretty much and the reason he had the whole god complex is because he felt like he was a guy. He felt like he knew people. He felt like he could control people. And then getting the death note on top of that just enhanced how he felt and just enhanced himself as becoming the guy that they say that he believed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like, and to be fair to the directors of this film, I think they had such a complex story to work with. To translate that in a hour and a half long film, I think is a really grueling task. And I think that a lot of the things that made Death Note such a great story were dumbed down. Like, even minor characters. Like, let's talk about Light's girlfriend, or the portrayal of, I guess that was supposed to be Misa, the girl named Mia. Was that supposed to be Misa from Death Note?
It. I mean, it. I guess maybe.
I mean, that was his girlfriend. Misa wasn't like, see, and that's back to what we were saying. Light was such a pimp that he had this girl Misa in the anime act as his girlfriend, even though he didn't take her seriously. But she looked at him as like a fucking god. Like, she adored the fucking ground he walked on, and she would do anything, even fucking sacrifice her own life, which she actually does at one point in the anime.
Yeah, and yeah, she like I said, he didn't love her. He just used her. He understood that she had so much love for him, and that she would do anything, and he was able to use her in a really big way in the anime, and in the show. Just comparing it, it was more of a he loved her. In fact, I felt like she was more. Um, the deaf guy than he was. She was Kira in in the whole retrospect of it. She was the one that was saying we need to take these people out. She was the one who got to play for their names. She did all the really much the smart moves until the end when he got checked when he reverse checkmated her.
Yeah. One of the things that I wish that they had kind of touched on was the fact that Light's girlfriend in the anime had her own death god, Rem. And what I found interesting about that in the anime was that Rem did not like Light at all. Misa's, demon god that would follow her around. And he actually used that to his advantage in how he went in defeating L. He used the dislike Rim had for him to use that against her, in a sense, to use her to kill L. And I mean, I think they didn't even go into depth with the characterization of the demons. Like, I feel like they kind of use Ryuk as just like the traditional monster. It's like, oh, we want you to be scared of a monster, but they didn't really, realize that this character, even though he really was essential to the story, it was in a way that still portrayed him as a personality. Ryuk, like we said, he was bored. He just dropped this book out of boredom. He was observing the behavior of humans. And then you have this other demon that follows Misa, who is like, kind of has more stake in what humans do. Like, she kind of cares about Misa, and she doesn't like the fact that Light is taking advantage of her. And so she'll do anything to protect Misa. And so Light says, well, I know that you're not going to want her to die. So you're going to have to stop Elle from doing this, or else she's gonna die. And I thought that was really fucking dope that he used the demon's motivations against the demon, and that it showed how fucking smart Light was, that he was even able not only to use the government and humans, but this kid was able to even use demons to get the shit that he wanted done. Like, Light was really, by the end of fucking Death Note, you really felt like life was just pure evil, and that the only thing for to happen was for him to die, because he had done so much. He had killed, everyone that was important, that it just got to a point like he was beyond himself as a human. I mean, he really kind of embodied a god
He
towards the end of
transcended.
Death Note. Yeah, he did. He did. And they don't really show that in this movie. I mean, I don't even feel like I felt like Light was powerful at all by the end of this movie.
Yeah, and then they tried to uh, make him close to Light or close to the anime Light at the end of the movie. They let him um, they let him do one smart thing throughout the whole movie. That was it. Like, you get this one, and it was like a half baked thing from the anime. It was
Mm-hmm.
he it was a good scene. So like I said, if I didn't watch the anime, I would probably thought this was a good ending or anything like that. But the whole thing was, oh yeah, what was Misa's god's name? Rim.
Oh yeah, Misa's god in the anime's name was Rem.
Yeah. So Rim, she she was like, the friend, the best. She was kind of the best friend to Misa, and you know how like when you're in love with somebody, or a girl's in love with somebody, they don't they don't listen to their best friends. You're like, nah, girl, you don't know. He really loves me, things like that. I kind of got that feel from Rim. So like, I don't know. It's a huge thing that this movie was missing. Oh, and also the Shinigami world, they completely, ignored that. The
Yep.
whole, the whole vast of there's nothing there, and there's many different Shinigamis. They completely, missed that part, and I understand why, because of the narrative that they want to drive. That um, they wanted the they wanted to stick to American traditions where the protagonist is a good guy, and and not have it where we're questioning, man, should we like this? Like, should we like Light? We shouldn't really like him, but he's gonna make us like him because he's smart. Because if they would have pushed that and pushed that he was a weak guy at the same time, it wouldn't have
Mhm.
been believable.
I also feel like they didn't really go into detail about the police. There was like a whole storyline there in the anime series with the Kira investigation team and the different storylines, the different plots between the different officers. That was just completely ignored. They just pretty much focused on L as like the main investigation, but they didn't even show like the dynamic of even when L used light as a part of his investigation. They didn't show L being a high school student or going undercover. It was kind
Yeah,
of like
oh, this especially the scene, like the one of the like there's memorable scenes in Death Note, and one of those are like every one of those main scenes they pretty much missed it. They didn't have the scene where Light and L were chained together,
yeah.
which is like the main thing you want to see from Death Note.
Exactly. And I believe even the Japanese movies had that
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, it's a very important scene if you want to, like, if you're talking about Death Note. Now, if they were not to call this movie Death Note and it was just like inspired off of Death Note, or this is like maybe Light's reincarnation. I mean, I guess I could make a pass on all on these things, but it's just bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of got the impression that they were really trying to dumb this movie down as much as possible, which I don't know if that's really a good thing. Like, if I was coming in and I didn't see the anime, I wouldn't have all of these things to go based off of. So I think I wouldn't have as much of an issue with this film. And that's just me being fair. But to be even more fair, I think you would be doing yourself a disservice not to watch the anime, because the reason why this film is even halfway decent is because of how good the source material is. I mean, the original source material for this story is just so well done, so intricate. I really felt like they should have done this as a series because it really does. The storyline lends itself more to a series, in my opinion.
Definitely. Definitely. In fact, I didn't know that it wasn't a series. Like this whole time, I was led. I believed it was a series, and then like I hop on Netflix yesterday, hit on Death Note, and it's just one movie. I was like, what the fuck? There's no way you could tell all this story, but I still was like, let me go ahead and just still give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, I want to start. So like now that I feel like we've kind of talked most about the issues. I mean, other than Light's portrayal, because I didn't like the way Light was portrayed. So let's kind of like get into, I guess, specifically like what our issues were and what our likes were. So I'm gonna start off with my issues, and I'm just gonna lay them out straight. I'm not gonna go into like heavy detail like we just did. But my first issue was I didn't like the way Light was portrayed. I felt like they made him way too teeny bopper. I don't really care for him being like crazily in love. I don't really need a love story. I feel like this story doesn't need Light to be, this nerdy kid. Like you can make him a villain, like make him a bad guy. People will still like him even if he's bad. Like that was the cool thing about Light in the anime, was that you knew this kid was wrong, but you still liked him. Like he had a likable personality, he had charm, and he was very smart. And I kind of felt like this kid was kind of like a goofball. Like his girlfriend was just bitching him a lot. There was like a lot of scenes where they were arguing. I'm like, Light would never spend this much time arguing. Like he
Yeah.
wouldn't,
Yeah.
like he wouldn't do that. So that was one thing I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that they made Ryuk so involved. He's an observer. He doesn't care about what humans do. He just likes to see humans do shit and behave crazy. And so he dropped the death note in the Earth world out of boredom. Light, he didn't have any motivations. It wasn't because his mom got killed. It wasn't because he had daddy issues. Light was also bored, just like Ryuk. It was a contrast between him living in Earth and Ryuk living in the demon world, and how they were both bored. And these two forces came together and caused a whole bunch of mayhem. And I didn't like the way that L was portrayed in the end of the film. The fact that L kind of snapped after Watari was killed, and he grabbed a gun after he said earlier in the movie that guns are a distraction. He would never use a gun, but then he goes and grabs a gun when he gets upset. Doesn't seem like something L would do. Somebody who's so like tactical. I can't see him just breaking that easily. And I didn't really care for the way that they had, Mia, his girlfriend, portrayed. I wish that they had her have her own demon. I wish they kind of went more from the aspect that she worshipped him because he was a god. Because that was really what made Kira a god, was the fact that he helped people that people like he never knew. Like that's why Misa in the anime was so infatuated with him, is because he killed the person that killed her parents. And so everybody who grew a connection to Kira was so obsessed with him because he was pretty much like a hero to them. And they really didn't capture that essence to me, and that was one of the things I didn't really care for. What were your issues?
Oh, my issues, yeah. Light was a bitch. Um, and I feel like I keep saying like it's an American thing, but I feel like in most American movies, they feel like the protagonist, he can't be smart and strong. He has to be one. Like you have to pick one.
Yeah.
And in in anime or in the Japanese culture, there's so many different shows. But besides Death Note, you have what Code Geass. You have I forgot the other one, but it's mainly they said you can't be both. You can't be smart, getting all the girls, and not nobody fucks with you. Um, and that compromise on top of um him getting just outplayed by everybody, like he pretty much got outplayed by everybody. He didn't seem smart, even though people were saying he was smart. They were like, hey, he's getting paid to do people's homework, which again is like an American thing. Is like American high schooler, because I don't think in Japan there was they have a different like sense of honor and stuff like that, and they're really not about the money like Americans are. So I kind of got that, but like he was still like the only time they showed him being smart was when he was making, he was doing homework. That was it. Um, he wasn't smart on covering his tracks. His first kill was led to him. They gave himself a motive, and then he was only killing off of U.S. database. It feels like there was nothing he could do. There was nothing he did in the movie that was pretty much smart until the very end. But the very end is like something I think I could have wrote in Death Note. You know what I mean? It was my level of intelligence. It wasn't beyond. It wasn't like shockingly smart.
And I mean,
And
if I could remember, I don't even remember Light being scared of the Death Note. I think he was more excited about what he could do with the Death Note. And it's just like you said, like his first kill, like when he first gets the Death Note and he sees Ryuk, he acts like a complete bitch. Like,
Yeah, completely. He's completely bitched throughout the whole series. On top of that, oh, you know what I mean? He killed nothing but criminals. When is bullying like a punishable at death? Like, you know what I mean? He like that's my main thing. I'm like, he just killed the dude for bullying, and I'm like, you know what I mean? He could have grown up and been an outstanding man. He could have, changed his ways. He's not,
yeah,
robbing, raping, killing. Like, it's just fucking a shock on how you could justify killing, bullying, or whatever. And then the fact that they like Ryuk was like, "How do you want me to kill?" You know what I mean? He was explaining the book to him. It,
yeah. That was another thing. I thought when you don't write how someone gets killed in the Death Note, they just die from like a heart attack.
they did, and they actually even had it in a movie because when Misa took that page from him, she she wrote down, or she had the guy write down their names and for the FBI people that were following, and then she made him jump off the cliff. But the other people that he wrote, they died of a heart attack. But they didn't, what I mean? They didn't specifically talk about that in the movie.
Okay, because I
Um,
remember they had this whole dealer's choice thing. I don't really remember
yeah.
that being a thing.
And he kept asking like, "Oh, how do you want me to do it?" And he's like, "Dealer's choice." And like, that's not how that works. If he just
Yeah,
writes the name down, that's a heart attack. Um, and then L was it was great. He was great, especially uh yeah, during the beginning. He was great. The butler singing to him, that was kind of weird.
yeah, that
Um
was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie.
but I was like, I guess I'll take it because weird he's a weird guy. Yeah,
Mhm.
what I mean, I guess that kind of adds to it. But they also they also in this movie made L and Light have attachments to people. Like
Mhm.
uh, L was so attached to his butler, and I don't remember it ever being like that. And they made Light so attached to Misa that like what I mean, it clouded his judgment and it made him a whole different. That's the main thing that made them whole different people is because L was attached to his butler. So when they kill the butler off, oh, he snaps, which we all know that would never happen
Yeah,
because
I would never leave himself open like that. He would never have his weakness exposed that way.
you know what I mean. And then the Wasatari, he doesn't have a last name, like what I mean. So now you only write first names and picture them. That's how it works. It's weird, or what they go by, because we don't even know if Washatari was his real name.
Yeah.
Uh, and what else? Yes, and when he snapped, it was like, what the hell is going on? When Washatari died, he ran up in his house. He's like, and right before that, he was like, I don't do checkmates. I don't do checks. I do checkmates. But he's running up in his house with the warrant. You know what I mean? That's
That was not L style at all. I mean, it kind of felt like they ran out of budget. It was like, okay, we got to wrap this movie up, so we're just gonna end it. Like it was like that. This should have been a series. I really feel like this should have been a series. I guess I'm gonna talk about my likes now because I don't want to just completely bash it. There are very few things, I guess, that could be said good about it. So like you said, I liked L in the beginning. I liked Lakeith Stanfield, I believe is the actor's name that portrayed L. I like that, one, I like the fact that he's a black dude he's representing, but also it wasn't really, it didn't play a factor. Like I thought that, being that he was, I guess, a different race, that it was going to play a factor in his portrayal. But I liked how he portrayed L. Like I felt like he did a real good job bringing that character to life, and I really enjoyed his portrayal of L, the quirkiness, the eating the food, and like even the way the cinematography was done during his scenes, like the lighting. Like I remember when they first showed L and he was like investigating that club that got like all these people were dead in. I thought that was like a really dope looking scene. And that was another thing I liked about Death Note was I did like the cinematography. I didn't really care for the music, especially because I liked the music from the original so much. I thought the music in this just sounded so stupid. Like they had like all these like American pop ballad rock songs and shit playing like out of nowhere. I wasn't really feeling that. Kind of reminded me of like Suicide Squad, where you just hear like random hip hop songs out of nowhere. But I also liked William Defoe's voice acting. I thought his voice was just a perfect match for Ryuk, and I could almost hear his voice as the original Ryuk from the anime. It was almost like, damn, like his voice was just like perfect for this role. It's almost like he was always doing this role from before. So that was perfect casting. And those were my likes. Oh, and I did, even though I didn't like the fact that the kills didn't have weight to them, I just like the special effects of the kill. Like I like the way, like it reminded me of like Final Destination. Like the kills are just like, really gory. I just wish the kills had more weight to them and were more, tense and were a part of the story aspect. And they just weren't just like a cheap thrill. But those were my likes about the film. What were your likes?
Yeah, like I said, and like you covered L down. He was great. He was really well played. Um, I liked how Ryuk looked. Um, I really liked that they kept with the apples thing, even though they didn't really go into too much of it. I don't think they even said that he liked apples. They just
Yeah, they didn't
infer.
really go into detail about it.
Um, I like that. I guess I do like the play at the end, even though I I saw like I knew exactly what happened when he. Well, it was also weird too because like he wrote that she would take the page, and then he was telling her like I didn't think you would take the page. I was like she has to take the page because you wrote it that she would do it. So like
Exactly.
he's acting like he didn't know she would die, but he wrote it in the book. There was like there wasn't like a choice that they tried to make it seem there was. Um, but let me go back to lights because I think I'm veering off. Um, yeah, I liked how they look. The first kill is the only kill I really remember, or really just stood off to me because it was like Final Destination. I felt like if every kill was kind of like that, then it would have been good. I mean, but I like that one. Damn, it's hard. This is hard for me. I'm trying to say my likes, but every time I say a like, I think about two or three different things I dislike. Uh,
Oh man. So do you think they're gonna do a sequel?
of course, they're definitely going to do a sequel because of the ending that the terrible ending that they did, where his dad found out. Like he was so obvious, even his dad even his dad found out that he did it, and L getting the page and making it look like he crossed the line. He's gonna be, writing his name down. It's just it's so I don't know, bad.
Well, the director actually said that he left it open for a sequel, that it was he envisioned it as a two film series. So it definitely could be a possibility. I think the reviews from what I've heard from most people are kind of mixed. Like some people really despise, well, I think a majority of people really don't like it. And then there's like a small group of people that do are making a voice that do like this film. So I do think that if more people do continue to like this film, people, especially people who haven't seen the anime, because I'm assuming a lot of people that haven't watched the anime are going to watch this before they watch the anime.
Yeah,
So I do think that this probably we'll probably see a sequel. And we'll see how it goes from there.
yeah. I think that's definitely what they expected when they wrote this script. They were expecting to grab the American people who didn't watch Death Note. I think that's the target audience for this movie.
Yeah. So I appreciate having you on, man. This was definitely dope. We have to do this again. And
Yeah, definitely.
if for everyone that came through and everyone that watched, we appreciate it. And we definitely want to hear any recommendations on any more reviews that you guys may want to hear from me and Akeyles. Akeyles, is there anything else you want to say before we head out?
Hit that like button.
Oh
Comment down below. Let us know
yeah.
what you want to see in the future, and go ahead and share it out to your friends if you liked it. Or if if they want to hear our opinions about Death Note, or if they not trying to watch it at all because they think the movie is bad. Go ahead and share it out to them.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think about our opinions too. And like I said, thanks for watching. This is Astro Monk 86, and we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.